Welcome to Module 3 of the Volunteer Training for Kindness Angels and Ambassadors. I am Robin Lichter, a fellow volunteer. Being that you are watching this, you have already completed the online application, done the Zoom meeting with Simone and myself, signed all the necessary documents, and identified the type of volunteer you have selected to be. The essence of the kindness system is a dedicated and trained volunteer corps. We thank you for being one of them. Now, I know this slide is one that you've seen and you will continue to see, but it really depicts the essence of what our structure is all about. As you can see on the right-hand side of the slide, the names of the 4 different volunteer groups. The vertical arrows illustrate where the angel and the ambassador is involved, as well as the involvement of all our collaborating service providers. Sometimes the service will be provided by the Kindness Initiative itself and not an outside service provider, but be cognizant that this is a collaborative effort and we are working with many other organizations to eventually get the outcome we desire for our members. This is a graphical representation that shows you our current organizational structure at the Kindness Initiative. This is in process, in changing, but this is where it's at the moment. So to explain what you're seeing, it does look very busy, but it's actually a very methodical arrangement of what the structure is. Anything in the darker purple, of which there are very few boxes, is indicating to you our staff members. The light purple boxes are all our volunteers, of which you make up this body, this very vital body. Then in the orange are the outside providers, and that section is going to continue to grow. So what really is apparent from this structure is that we are really a very volunteer-driven organization. And there are so many opportunities for involvement and quite honestly, so vital for us to succeed. I'm going to deal with angels first, and then we'll move on to the ambassadors. So you as the angel, you are developing the relationship with the member. And we don't refer to them as the client, we refer to them as the member, and they will be receiving a membership card that identifies that they are affiliated with KI. The members are experiencing financial instability, and you're developing this relationship with them to assist them in accessing the services that she or he needs in order to regain financial self-sufficiency using the customized kindness case manager plan that our case managers will propose once they have interviewed the angel. Now for the real scary stuff. I know this looks like a whole mess, but I'm going to try go methodically through the process so that you can see exactly what is happening. So the process includes the following: the application, of which you've already done to have gotten to this point, as previously mentioned. You've signed all the necessary paperwork and all the confidentiality forms because confidentiality is of the strictest and utmost importance here. So now what happens is the case manager will match you up with a member whom he or she thinks is most suited to you and your attributes. The case manager will discuss verbally with you the recommended plan that has been established. Not only will the case manager discuss it with you verbally, it will be put in writing and it will be added on Slack to the members' Slack channel. Now, I want to digress a moment here just to explain a little bit more about Slack. And I do know there is a whole module dedicated to this, but it's really important for you to know because all our communication for our volunteer base is through the Slack network. The members do not have access to Slack. Their information is recorded on Slack, but they do not have access to it and they will not see anything that is here. So their plan that the case manager has established will be put on the members Slack channel. The Slack channel is private, so only invited people will have the ability to see what's in that members Slack channel. You being the angel, obviously it's critical for you to have access to that information. So you'll have information to the Slack channel of the member, and you will then have the whole plan there. You will be introduced to your member, and you can establish for yourself and the member what works for you in terms of how do they prefer communicating, by phone, by email, by text. Do they have any time restrictions? Do you have time restrictions? You will then establish a good protocol to be in contact with the member. You are going to explain to the member the plan that has been proposed for them. They have not yet seen this plan. So you're the one who's going to explain it in depth. So that's why it's so important that you yourself understand it really well when you get it from the case manager. Now you're going to be collaborating with those service providers as shown previously. There is a Slack channel for every service provider organization. For purposes of ease, I'm going to use Gamach as our service provider organization. So let's say your member needs Gamach services. You will go again on Slack and you will find, it'll say partner Gamach. All the service provider organizations or partners are going to be together underneath each other on the left-hand side of your Slack. You will find the Gamach Slack channel, and using that, you will go in there and you are going to introduce your member. You are going to put that your member is now requiring the services of Gamach, and you're going to itemize in what ways, be it for services, be it for financial. You will then find the contact person for Gamach's information there, and you are going to be in contact with that ambassador, who is then going to help you navigate using Gamach's organizational services. Now, we require and request that you are in contact with your member at least once a week. You need to try and be in contact, and even if they don't respond to you, we want you to update that in the members Slack channel. You need to identify what's happened with the member during the course of the week, update it in the members Slack channel, and if you haven't been in contact, you'll say too, you've struggled to be in contact with the member. You're also going to ask your member to please complete a service provider form, which can be found on the Kindness Initiative website whenever they receive a service. In this way, we're going to be keeping track of the service provider organizations whose services we are utilizing. Additionally, you as our angel volunteer are going to quarterly fill out a member progress report. Now, all these forms that I'm going to be mentioning to you are also part of the package you received when you became a volunteer. So this member progress report will be updated quarterly, and you will upload it to the Slack channel of your member. If while you're interacting with your member, the member has new requests and suddenly new things need to be done for them, they might have a new need for accommodation, for housing, for food, a bill that needs to be paid, you don't handle that. You will reach out to the case manager on Slack. So you will go on Slack to the case manager and say, your member now has some new needs, and the case manager will tell you how to handle that. As the last thing mentioned on this slide over here, we are very, very privileged to have a psychologist on board on our team, and he will be providing regular, probably monthly group meetings that are optional for you to attend, but strongly recommended, because he will be advising us on successful interactions with members, and you might want to bring up any circumstances or situations you may have encountered that you feel needed to have been handled differently. Your time commitment. Now, this is a big one. This is going to vary dramatically based on the member's needs. We are estimating 2 to 4 hours per week per assigned member, but this is going to be very variable. And in order for us to keep track and control of this, one of the other forms in your volunteer package is a log of the time. And we're going to ask you to please try and keep that updated. And monthly, you are going to put that in the Slack channel of Simone, our administrative director, so that she can keep a track and a tally of time that's being spent. So just to reiterate, as you can see, communication is critical. Communication with your member, which will be the desired process for both of you. Communication with any KI team member will be exclusively through Slack. You will update the member's Slack file with all the interactions. And again, you will track the progress of the member on a progress form quarterly and upload it to their Slack channel. Let's move on to ambassadors. Be aware, you as an ambassador do not have any direct communication with the member. Your communication is going to be with the service provider organization and with the angel. And you are going to be the liaison to help the member get the services of your service provider, get the services through the service provider organization. The process is a little simpler, although it does seem a little bit complicated here too. You've already established that you're going to be an ambassador. You will then be introduced by the service provider director. So we have a service provider director on board who will introduce you to the contact person. And again, we're going to use Gamach as our organization. You will then establish a meeting with Gamach, either in person if it's possible, or else a virtual meeting with Gamach's contact person, who will give you a rundown of all the services they provide. You are going to then update Simone's Slack channel of all the resources that your service provider organization, Gamach, for instance, is providing. And we request from you to update this monthly, because they may be providing more services. So you will always keep Simone abreast of all the new resources that your organization provides. So the resource channel on Slack will be constantly in update mode, such that it's always current for anybody to access. You will have been notified by the angel that they are using your service provider organization. So you as the ambassador need to check the channel regularly to see if new members are using your organization. We are going to ask you to please give Kindness Initiative feedback about your preferred provider annually. Your time commitment, we're estimating, is 1 to 3 hours per week per service provider organization that you're dealing with. And again, communication is critical. We want you to be in touch with your service provider every month. Update Simone on the Slack channel of all the new resources, and communication with any KI person is via Slack. A few other things I just wanted to mention as the ambassador. You are our advocate for KI and our members. So we will be calling upon you to be a representative of us during coalition meetings and any other networking events we may have. We will provide you with a framed certificate for your service provider organization that we hope they will keep on display, and we will post their logo on our KI website. We want to thank you so much for attending Module 3 of the volunteer training. There are 7 of these modules, and we would appreciate you going through all of those that are relevant to you. It probably won't take more than 2 to 2.5 hours in total. You are our advocate, so we really want you to be knowledgeable. In closing, we ask you to please share KI's goal, which is really to help our members get up and running on their feet again. If every Jewish San Diegan could volunteer in any of the roles, or make a monetary donation, or even just spread the word and be our advocate, we will make such an impact. The strength of our community and the ability to make a difference is our collective knowledge and expertise. Lastly, please would you return the attendance form when you've completed viewing all your necessary modules, which is in your volunteer handbook package. Thank you so much for the valuable role you are all playing.